Alright, hey guys, it's me, Avia LeVon. I am back today with a new video. So we are starting off this new year, and usually finances are a really kind of big part of planning for the year and a really big part of mine. Those that don't know, I'm really into like the organization thing. So finances fall into this organization kind of thing for me. And the past couple of years, I've really kind of come to enjoy them now that I'm starting to learn and figure them out. So I thought I'd create this video to kind of help you learn how to budget, learn how to manage your money, know where your money is, and just kind of my little tips and tricks on kind of how I organize my year and my finances. All right, so one of the first lessons that I really kind of come to learn, probably took me a year post-graduation to kind of figure out where I wanted my money to go, what was going to be the best system that worked for me more so. And right now I'm really happy with kind of what I have worked out. So right now I have 3 different bank accounts. Each one of those kind of has its own purpose and allows me to use the money in the ways that I would need them the most. So the first bank account that I have is just a savings account. And this is a savings account that I do not really ever want to be able to touch. I want it to just be off in a corner. I don't even want to know it's there. So it's not linked to any kind of checking account because in the past I found that when I had a savings account where the checking account was linked, if I wasn't happy with the way my checking account was looking or just wanted to spend a little more money, I would just make that easy transfer. And then I just would not have any money in my savings. So now I just have a whole separate savings account that I can't touch. I can make transfers to like my normal checking account, which is in a whole nother bank, but it takes a couple of days for it to process. So that really makes me think, well, one, if I need that money. 2, with my process now, I don't have to think like that, which is nice. But that is off in its corner. It's kind of getting money dumped into it and it's just growing on its own. So you want to find one that also has really good interest rates. So even though I'm dumping money into it every 2 weeks with my paycheck, it's also making money as well just from the interest rate of the savings account. So immediately kind of what goes into that savings account, I'm looking at it as I at least want to have 3 months of like all paid expenses. So if anything was to ever happen, I would know that I could live comfortably for 3 months in that bank account. So that's kind of the threshold of at least what it has to have. And then any large savings goals that I might have will go into that account. So within the next year or 2, I hope to be buying a house. So that money is also going into that bank account too, so that I am not touching it, so to speak. Okay, so the other 2 types of bank accounts that I have are with credit unions. I really like them. Some different ones kind of have different perks. So you just have to do some research to see which ones work best for you and what some of your preferences are. But I really like them. A lot of the main perks that I like is just when it comes to loans and what those interest rates are on loans, it kind of works out. I use that account for purely checking and spending purposes. So any of my everyday spending, groceries, wanting to go shopping, wanting to go out to eat, just because I'm in Target and that store is like a death trap to me, though I love it. All of the spending comes out of that account. There's also a savings account linked to that. I do have some money in there, but it's not my main priority in growing savings. So I'll dump some in there every so often, but like I have my online account that's really just used for savings. And then my last account, my third account, like I said, is also with a credit union. This account I use strictly for bills. So I kind of have money put into it every couple of weeks. That's just kind of a pool, I guess, pool of money, where I have all of my bills kind of auto draft out of that checking account. That way I'm not pressed and having to think about, do I have enough money for my cable bill this month or my electric bill or whatever is kind of going on. That's like automatically drafting out of this account, which will always have enough money in there to take care of my bills for the month. So that kind of takes some pressure off of me and knowing that that is always going to be taken care of. And so that's like the main purpose of that checking account. I don't use it for anything else outside of bills that I can auto draft out of that account. But so those are my 3 different accounts. Those that I kind of speak to about finances, I just kind of am like, hey, I think it's a good system that works for me. It allows me to know what kind of in buckets each of the accounts is for and how to utilize them as efficiently and as possible. So I really like that. And it just kind of keeps everything clear as far as what money I have and don't have, and especially when it comes to just the bills account and the general checkings account. That way I know I'm not spending money that needs to go into my bills. Okay, so I have a very typical 9 to 5. I do PR for a larger corporation here in Atlanta. So that's kind of where most of my income comes from. Okay, so when it comes to your 2019 planning or just planning in general, when it comes to finances, my number one tool on how I kind of keep track of all of my money and my budget and know where everything is and just feel completely confident with my financial situation in general is YNAB. And this is like not sponsored or anything, though I wish. I feel like I'm a walking billboard for YNAB. My girlfriend at work kind of told me about it one day. I used to use, now I forgot, Mint online to kind of keep track of my spending. And I would create like the little categories of, I want my shopping to be this much and I'll spend this much in groceries. But I never felt accountable when I would go over budget in those categories. And then all of a sudden, it would be the first of the month and I'm like, oh, shoot, how am I going to make rent happen, So I didn't feel the accountability there. So I was talking to a girlfriend at work about it one day and I was just like, I like Mint because I can, set my categories and I just have to be super diligent to know that I'm not going over. But when everything's red, I'm just kind of like, whoops, and I don't really feel the pain of that until maybe something happens and I don't quite have the money for it. But I was telling her I need something that's going to keep me accountable, something that's just going to just really help and work with me as far as where my money is, what it needs to go to, and just like so that it has a purpose and that like I feel the pain more so to speak when I go over budget in any category. And Mint didn't do that for me. YNAB is called You Need a Budget, is kind of what it stands for. And so you can go in and the whole premise is essentially that you want to make sure that every single penny that you have has some sort of purpose. So it has a little ticker at the top that tells you kind of how much money you have left to budget. And the goal is to always have that down to $0 so that every single dollar and penny that you have is being allocated towards something. That way you don't have just kind of any money laying around. You don't know what it's doing or what its purpose is. So they have you budget everything down to the penny as far as what you have. The second purpose that YNAB kind of also really has is to kind of help people not live paycheck to paycheck. I felt like for a period I didn't have any kind of money management knowledge and self-control or anything. So after graduation, I got my job. I had the money, so I would spend it. By no means was that never like hurt in any way, but I just did not know what I was doing with it. And so occasionally I find myself being like, okay, I cannot wait for it to be Friday so that I can have some more money again. And so I'd say now I don't necessarily feel like that at all. But so I've now planned where I can budget, where a lot of my money actually goes into the next month and taking care of some of my different obligations for the month after. Whereas I'm not necessarily always looking for that immediate next Friday to make sure that I can do something that next day or I can afford X. So that's meant in some months that I've kind of made a really kind of constrained and tight budget. That way I can feed my other months kind of ahead. So right now I'm going to kind of take you through YNAB, show you how that works, show you some of the categories that I use that I really like, as far as how I like to budget out my money and kind of where some of my expenses go. I'm going to come up with just kind of like a dummy salary that we can kind of quickly work off of, and then kind of show you how that works when I'm feeding in multiple accounts. And then just kind of show you what that looks like when I'm feeding in multiple accounts. So like I had my 3 separate bank accounts, how I'm using that within the tool to kind of keep me organized and allow me to kind of budget in the future. So yeah. All right, guys, so I have YNAB up now. So this is kind of what the tool looks like. I just want to spend a couple of minutes just kind of walking through how I budget so you guys can see my categories. Just kind of get a quick feel for the program. This is not my actual budget, so I just kind of made a fake one for this. And so I made a couple of fake accounts, but this follows my general kind of accounts kind of model and setup that I was telling you guys about earlier, which is having a general spendings account, a can't touch savings account, and then a bills account. In the program, the goal is to always have $0 left to budget. And then the real trick, and the one thing that you want to always be sure that you're doing, is making sure that you have money budgeted that can go into the future. So that's how you're starting to take care of your bills and your expenses and your fund spending for the next month. But so these are my major kind of budgeting categories, so to speak. So I have bills, savings, house, quality of life, vacation, and Bentley. So here's kind of what some of my spending could look like in bills. So this one category alone, all of this is, I kind of categorize it as far as these are reoccurring payments that I have. So every month I can say at the same time it'll come out of an account, or a bill is due once a month for this. And these are really easy to kind of tie to just one credit card. So I pull it out from my bills account, and I just use my checkings card to pay for all of these. And so once a month, all of these come out. So the goal here, what I try and do is, and I budget this first when it comes to budgeting, is I want to make sure that my available amount in my bills category matches the amount that I have in my account. And so as I get paid, I kind of keep my bills pretty spread out. I just be sure that I can take care of each of the bills. I have enough money to take care of each of these. Savings is just a quick example. So I'll have like an emergency kind of set allotment out of my savings. So you see my total is $5,000, let's say, in this savings account. Let's say 4,000 of it I want to be for an emergency, and I would never touch this. And let's say that I have a different goal also of buying a house. So maybe I can start a savings kind of category. So it's still going to come out of this total amount. But out of that $5,000, 1,000 of it right now is going to go to my new house. So kind of as I'm getting money deposited in, I can say that more money is allocated to my house and such forth. I really like this also because you can set goals. Wrong button. You can set goals as far as kind of how much you want to kind of be in these budgets and stuff like that. So if I was to click into here, let's say I set a goal that I need $30,000 by, I think I said February of 2020. So this is telling me that, hey, you'll need 1,100 and some change to be able to stay on track to reach that by February of 2020. Then just to quickly house, so I have just kind of any house spending, but right now it's really just my rent, quality of life. Just a couple of important call outs here. You can make these categories literally anything that you want them to be. So some important ones that I probably spend the most money in is probably groceries, dining out, and shopping. So this is kind of how you would do that, and you would just budget this out. And again, the goal is to get this to zero. You don't need to max out all of it, but you want to be sure again that you're putting money towards the future. So leaving some and then budgeting out in the next month. That was quality of life. So then vacations. So I put any of my main upcoming trips here. So as of right now, I have a couple others that I know I'm definitely going to be doing, but I know I'm taking a trip for my birthday. So this category would be any spending that I do while I'm there. So either taking care of the hotel or any activities. And then I have these fun 3 categories that just kind of help to take care of the costs of some trips. So every month I put a little bit in here. So these numbers will start to kind of accumulate over time. But so I can put $20 to $30, kind of per paycheck towards flights. And then my last category is for Bentley. And the cool thing about YNAB is as you're spending it, you can have it tracked and kind of go through. So I just kind of made one up for the purpose of this kind of quick demo. And so let's say I went to Target, went a little crazy, spent $73. I think I've already corrected this in the budget, but I said that came out of shopping. Originally, I think I had the budget at $50 when I was first playing around with this. And so it tells me, hey, you're $23 over when it comes to your budget. So what I really like about YNAB compared to a lot of other tools, like I said, I used Mint before, and I didn't really feel like it kept me accountable for my spending. Now I physically can kind of see where this hurts me. So I'm like, oh, okay, ouch, I spent X number over my budget. It really now comes down to where am I going to get that money from to cover that? Because if not, hey, this money could be coming out of what I have allocated for my rent the next month, or that kind of sort of stuff. But the cool and kind of important thing to know here is that this will kind of show you, hey, I'm over, and you have to figure out kind of where and how you're going to cover that spending, which is really cool. But yeah, so this kind of just shows you how in general the app works. I really love it. I probably spend about an hour a week just kind of fully dedicated to this and kind of planning out for the future. And I'll make sure that, my spending now, if, when I can, to not spend all that I have budgeted, so that I can have the ability to have some of that money roll over to the next month to take care of some of my different obligations. So I really love it, and I really love using it in conjunction kind of with a planner and seeing what's going on. That way, you can make sure the different activities that you have really match kind of your finances and what can you actually afford to do and what you can't. Hope that it helps you guys. I will leave the link below if you guys want to use it. Like I said, it is my go-to tool. So this is my budgeting video. This is how I like to manage my accounts, how I like to manage my money, how I like to plan for what I'm doing with my money a couple months in advance, and just kind of how to know what I really have and what I'm doing with it. So I hope that this helps you guys as you are planning for this new year and just accomplish some of your different goals. And it just kind of gives you sight that I feel like I have not had yet before with my finances that I really like. So I hope that it helps you guys in that way too. If you have any other kind of budgeting management tools or systems or processes, please let me know. Put that down in the comment section below. I also have a blog post on my blog just kind of all about budgeting and my budgeting tips and how I use YNAB as well. So that's on my blog as well for you to use as some supplementary information. So I hope you guys find that helpful. I'll put that blog post down below. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.